Alright, so this time for real, I will trim it.
And we will start at 30.
It will start at actually 30 seconds.
Alright. I charged my vape, so I will be able to smoke throughout the entire episode. It'll be great.
Well, look at you.
Back at it again.
And... What's up, guys?
Hey, we're back with another episode of How to Shave Your Back.
And this episode is sponsored by the fat guy from Cheers.
We love that guy, and we also love the two cops from Chips.
Yep. Alright.
So, how's your week been?
Not bad.
I haven't seen you in a while.
I know, we missed last week, and we apologize for that, everybody.
Yeah.
It was not our intention, but just both of us got busy. It was a holiday weekend.
Yeah.
Now we get to hear everybody get pissed off about why we didn't take Mother's Day off, but we did take Father's Day off.
Yeah, it's because of the double standard in America. Duh.
And because we are dudes.
We are dudes.
So we figured if we were going to take one of those holidays off, it needed to be the one that represents the guys. So we...
Plus...
We didn't do anything, though. Like, I went and saw my dad, but other than that, we honestly could have made time. It was just the times that we were trying to do it, like, it wouldn't work for one of us. Like, you were free, but I wasn't, or I was free and you weren't.
Yeah. I got locked up for like 2 days.
Yeah.
That sucked.
That's what I meant by he wasn't free.
Still didn't get my wallet. It never gave... Like, now they're going to pull me over and I'm not going to have an ID.
But did you have any money in it at that time?
No, but I had my wallet and it had my ID in it.
Oh.
Yeah, so then they're going to take
me... That doesn't matter.
Back to jail.
For traveling without a license. So all that is a joke.
Yeah, I didn't go to jail.
That was not real.
Not yet.
Yet.
It could happen. It could happen to any of us. That's the weird part.
At any time.
Like, anybody could commit a crime.
Yeah, that's one thing, like,
it's weird.
People who, like, get on the news after someone commits a crime, they're like, I never would have guessed. It's
I would.
Really?
You're all capable.
There's maybe, like, 2 people that I could see never committing a crime.
Yeah, me too.
And that's it.
Jesus was one of them.
Yep.
And they still found something to say that he did wrong, even though he didn't do anything wrong.
That's true. It's very true. So...
It's upsetting.
But yeah, so this is episode 2 of season 2. And... yeah.
You know the coolest part about the Jesus story, in my opinion?
What's that?
It's the fact that he had the power to like, literally destroy all those dudes.
But he didn't.
And he chose not to.
That was,
very honorable.
Yeah, that was so the prophecy could be completed.
Exactly.
Did you hear they actually found a book of Judas?
No, I did not, but that is interesting.
And Judas knew that
he had to betray Jesus.
He had to betray him.
Yep.
And that is the whole... That's like what happened, is Jesus told him, like, you have to be the one to do this in order for the prophecy to actually happen.
God, that'd be hard, too. Imagine Jesus coming to you and being like, yo, man.
Well, at that time,
you gotta betray me.
At that time, too, like, you gotta think, like, the 12 disciples and Jesus, they were, like, best friends. They lived together, they traveled together, they did everything together, and then he comes to you and says, you have to knowingly betray me so I can die.
I would be like, that's really heavy, Jesus. Like, you do realize that's a lot of pressure, and then he'd be like, I know, my son, just do it.
But yeah,
like,
so yeah, in order, he knew, Jesus basically told him in order for the prophecy to be completed that he had to betray him. And so that's all I really know. I didn't read too much into it. I just saw where they found the transcripts of it, written around the time that the King James Version was written. So it was like one of the books that had been left out whenever they were compiling all of it. But yeah, so...
See, I always find that stuff really cool, man. Like, whenever they said they found Noah's Ark, that made me super... I was so pumped.
They didn't know, did they?
No, they ended up finding out that it wasn't.
It was like another shipwreck or something?
It would have been exciting if it was, though.
Yeah.
I would be like, huh, maybe you all don't know everything.
Yeah, that's the thing, like...
Yeah, I have an open mind to all of it.
Never stop questioning anything. Teachers, cops.
Especially cops. Teachers, they're just there to do a job now at this point. They don't get paid enough by the state. And the funny thing about that is that's our tax dollars. And our tax dollars are being given to these, they're pretty much the biggest gang in the world, so they can buy all these military grade, like vehicles and things of that nature. But have you noticed something? There's really not that much crime out there. So why do they need military grade vehicles?
Especially not around here.
Yeah.
That's like, what was it, Bluff City? They got like a whole bunch of money, and so they bought one Dodge Charger.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
I do. It made me really, really mad because, like, dude,
they ended up getting like some kind of bonus, and they were like, we gotta find something to spend it on. So instead of updating their facilities or buying something that all of them could benefit from,
or even giving back to the community,
they bought one Dodge Charger. One. And
we're supposed to just be okay with that because Ricky down the road's alright with it.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's a good idea. Why do you hate the cops so much? It's not that I hate the cops. I don't hate the cops.
See, I don't either. That's the thing.
I just hate how they use our tax money.
Yeah, and
then claim that they don't.
Yeah, that's the big thing. Like, I don't see... The biggest thing for me, though, how can roads from, like, Rome still be paved perfectly, but our roads deteriorate after, like, 4 months?
Because
2,000-year-old pavement is completely fine, almost looks brand new, but our roads
suck.
Deteriorate.
They suck
after 2 months.
And I don't think they're thinking about that. I really don't. When they buy the nice Charger,
they're not.
They're not thinking about
it.
And then when they're on the road, they're like, "Fuck, I'm gonna fuck my new vehicle up." Yeah,
that's what makes them think about it. But then they get
another one.
This guy's got a gun, so I guess go check that out.
Badge.
And then they end up on like a gravel road, and they're like, "Wow, we need to pave this."
Now you brought up the teachers, man. Teachers used to be like that. Used to be
a very honorable job.
Yeah, exactly. Like they literally would be able to teach kids the way they wanted to teach them.
Yeah.
And that got a lot more done than this Common Core stuff. They're being told what to teach these kids instead of like the shit that they need to actually know.
I don't understand.
Right.
Who even started the Common Core stuff? How did that even happen?
They're trying to make the kids stupid.
I mean,
I'm sorry, it's all the proof is in the pudding, man.
It's working.
If you look at Common Core math, it's the most ridiculous shit ever. It doesn't even add up to what actual mathematicians do.
Yeah, like literally, they make 2 + 2. They break it down into like 7 steps.
Yeah. Wow.
Why?
All you need is two steps, really, or maybe actually 4 technically. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh wait, that's 4.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Like the whole Common Core thing, like I know people exaggerate it, like all the things that get shared on like Facebook, like this is my daughter's homework, it's Common Core, like all that's like super exaggerated, but it's not too far from it because they are taking like something that should be really simple and trying to break it down to almost make it easier, but they're making it way more difficult than it needs to be.
Exactly.
Like, I already struggle with math. If they had presented that shit to me when I was in school,
I would have dropped out.
I'd have been like, school's not for me.
Sorry, I tried.
I'm out.
I guess I'm gonna go work in a garage.
I'm out. Nothing wrong with that, though.
No, dude, it's a great idea.
You can make a lot of money doing stuff, not going to college.
Some of the richest dudes I know, take for example my friend Jim, he's a body guy.
Yeah.
He does body work for a car. He didn't even have to go to school for that. He was just naturally good at it, and that's all he's done his whole life. And he's got like thousands upon millions stashed away. I guarantee it, dude. That guy is not stupid with his money at all. It doesn't take much to really be a millionaire. It's just being dedicated to doing it and saving
dedicated
the money.
enough to stick with it. That's the thing.
Like, if you want to have $1 million in your bank account, you can just take a little bit out of your check every once in a while. Eventually, all that money adds up. Like, numbers just add up, dude.
That's true.
It's hard to do, though, because, emergencies, things of that nature.
Especially when you are living, like, paycheck to paycheck. That's what people don't realize. It's not an easy thing to save money.
Exactly.
It's not. Because every time you try,
something
happens where you have to end up spending more money or spending the money that you were trying to save. But, I mean, I'm getting out of debt. So,
you'll be able to,
after this year, I'll actually
be able to establish something.
Actually, next month, because one of my debts got paid off Friday. So, next month, every paycheck, I'll have an extra $180.
Yeah. So
that's every paycheck. That's not every month. That's every paycheck. That's almost $400 a month.
Yeah.
Saving.
I'd be giving you a round of applause.
Yeah. So. Speaking of that, we plan to make this show
hardcore,
the best that it can be. So, like I said, we don't have any guests this week, but we are going to have guests on this season as well. I know Antonio is very excited to come back. Gerard is excited to come back. Randy is probably the most excited to come back. So we will have guests. We'll bring in a couple new guests as well. We are also going to end this season with the 2-hour episode that we have promised you guys since the last season. 2-hour episode, and the plan is that everybody who is a guest this season, due to different schedules and people availability, it may not be able to happen with everyone, but the plan is the last episode, the 2-hour episode, we are going to have everyone that was a guest this season together, and we're all just going to get drunk.
Yeah,
that's the idea. That's the idea for the 2-hour episode. Hopefully everyone can make it. If not, then at least like 2 or 3 guests from this season will be here. And we're going to film it at night. We're going to film it on Saturday night. We will still upload it Sunday. But I mean, this is like 2 months away when it's going to happen. So it'll be August probably before it happens. Well, I don't know. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, it'll be August. Right at the end of August.
And we're just going to have a good time. And we encourage you guys, when you're watching it, to also have a good time.
Yeah.
Drink hearty. Eat hearty.
Yeah.
I'm bringing, like, buffalo fries. Like a pound.
Like, next time?
No, whenever we're, like, getting drunk. Yeah, I'm going to make buffalo fries.
Yeah, we're going to get food. We're probably going to get, like, buffalo fries. We're going to get, like, hot wings and just a bunch of beer.
It's going to be rad.
And, like I said, we plan to have everyone who was a guest. If that doesn't work, everyone that can make it who was a guest, which Antonio has already said he's on board, and I know Gerard will be, so there's 2 right there. Plus the other guests that we plan to bring on. We're actually going to sit down and, like, make a schedule of when the guests will come on. And we may film in different locations as well when we have the guests. Just depends on what's going on. Depends on
stuff,
kind of their preference, I guess. But yeah, we will definitely. This season is going to be bigger than the first one. Obviously, it's already
look at
better
us.
Because it's we got video.
Look at here.
But yeah, so thank you to everyone who has been there since season 1. Thank you to all 21 of the subscribers that we have. Hopefully that number grows.
It will.
It will. It'll take some time. But we plan to do this until one of us dies.
Yeah, I can't wait for the sweet release of death.
So, that brings us to
DMT. No. We're not Joe Rogan.
Florida news.
Yes, Florida news. I can't wait
So,
to hear what Florida man's up to this week.
do you want to go through last week, since we missed last week too, and this past week?
Yeah, man. Let's
All
go.
right.
Let's go with like last week. Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, so we're gonna start with June 10th because we already had June 9th. So, Florida man, June 10th. Florida man arrested for assaulting his roommate with a pizza.
Yeah. What? Does that really happen?
Yep.
Oh my god.
Daniel Allen Plunkett, a Treasure Island, Florida resident and man with little to no respect for Italian-American cuisine.
Clearly.
This is word for word as the article is written.
Oh my god.
Was arrested for throwing a slice of pizza at his roommate. It would have been cooler if it was the whole pizza.
It would have been. But I mean, a slice. How deadly can you be with a slice of pizza? Very, apparently.
I guess it depends on how hot it is.
Enough to get you arrested.
Depends on how hot it is, yeah. Florida man with no arms charged with stabbing man with scissors.
Dude, that's badass. You probably did it with a
So, a 46-year-old homeless man with no arms was arrested in Miami Beach, Florida, for stabbing another man with a pair of scissors using his feet.
I knew it. 10 points for Seth.
Florida man, June 12th, is Florida man charged in naked rake attack. Rake with a K. A K.
As in kite.
Alright. Deputies say that Maurice Costaneda, not wearing a stitch of clothing, barged into Bill and Crystal Colwell's Newport Richie home. Looked up and here's a naked guy in my house, and I instantly start screaming, "Get out of my house!" And he didn't get out, said Bill Colwell. Bill shoved him into the side yard. He said Constanita then grabbed his rake. He shattered it a few times because I think the last time might have been over my head because I got a couple of lumps.
I got a couple of lumps,
said Bill.
Bill's a tough guy.
Crystal tossed her husband a hatchet, but he had a better weapon in his truck. A hammer.
Hold on, I'll go get the hammer, buddy.
And literally the article ends there. So I don't know what he did with the hammer.
He should have dual wielded the hatchet and the hammer.
Dude.
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah,
Alright. Florida man, June 13th. Florida man arrested after asking cops to test his illegal drugs.
Hey, man.
According to Putnam County Sheriff's Office, Douglas Kelly of Hawthorne, Florida, contacted deputies on Tuesday with a complaint. He said that he had thought he'd been sold bad drugs. The police report on Facebook states that the man told deputies that he'd purchased methamphetamine about a week earlier and had suffered a violent reaction after taking it.
No way.
But that's not all.
Oh my god.
The suspect went on to demand that detectives in the narcotics division test it for him to see if it was cut with something or if he'd been sold something else. If Kelly was indeed sold the wrong narcotic, the suspect wanted to press charges against the dealer.
Now, I just have one comment. If you were sold meth that makes you have a violent reaction, you probably just smoke meth. That's probably...
I've never seen a non-violent reaction from
methamphetamine. Ever.
Oh god! Oh, this is the bad. We should have done it last week. I'm sorry you guys missed out on these. You had to wait another week.
Yeah, sorry, dude.
Let's see.
The meth one's got me. I can't.
I don't think anyone's gonna top that.
Me either. Pizza got dropped.
There is no news for Florida Man on June 14th of this year.
Must have been busy.
Nothing happened. Well, there may have been something that happened, but the only thing I could find was that it was a carryover from the Met. That it was just like the next day people were reporting on it.
It's all going.
But June 15th, Florida man arrested after chugging a can of beer during DUI stop.
That's the way to do it, man.
Let's see. Authorities say a 48-year-old Florida man raised a can of beer and chugged it after a sheriff's deputy stopped him on suspicion of drunk driving.
It's more than a suspicion, sir.
Daryl Riedel told Monroe County Sheriff's investigators he was scared when he fled in his pickup as Deputy Anthony Lopez stepped out of his patrol vehicle car Thursday. Riedel drove for a short distance before stopping. Riedel also has 3 prior DUI convictions between 2003 and 2010, and a 4th one still under investigation from 2017.
Shit, no wonder you're scared. What?
The report says Riedel got out of his truck, beer can in hand, and chugged it in front of the deputy. He faces numerous charges, including felony DUI, fleeing from a deputy, driving with a suspended license, and failure to submit to a breathalyzer test. He is in jail without bond.
That's how you do it, folks.
I mean, if you're gonna, you might as well just go all out.
Yeah, like, I would have shotgunned it. Just poke a hole in the bitch.
Yeah.
Why not?
Alright, so Florida man, June 16th. Florida man throws samurai sword at sheriff deputies.
Okay, so that tops the thing.
Florida man is in jail after law authorities said he threw a samurai sword at deputies responding to a domestic disturbance call. Brevard County Sheriff's deputies were responding to a 911 call Wednesday from a woman who said her son was threatening her with a pair of swords. Florida Today reports that when deputies arrived, they found 24-year-old Jeffrey Crane holding the samurai swords and he refused to put them down.
Not.
Investigators say that Crane then threw one of the swords at the deputies. A stun gun was used to subdue him, who had a blood alcohol content of .36. The legal limit to drive is .08, for point of reference. Crane faces several charges, including domestic abuse and aggravated assault on a law enforcement office. He's still being held in Brevard County Jail on Saturday. Jail records do not say if he has a lawyer.
But as you can see, he did not have any issue with defending his honor.
That's true. That's true. His ancestors. He was Asian. That's why he had the samurai swords. Obviously. I mean, that's how that works, right?
It was either do that or commit harakiri, which is ritual suicide for losing honor. And he didn't lose any of his honor that day. In fact, I want to shake this man's hand.
It's also what Chris Brown refers to his Lamborghini's doors.
Honor?
No. Harakiri.
Oh, harakiri. Oh,
Random
suicide doors. Harakiri.
Alright, June 17th, this one might take the cake.
Uh-oh.
Florida man's murder was actually elaborate suicide by balloon.
What is going on? I'm ready. I'm strapped in.
Alright. 71-year-old Alan Abramson had started taking early morning walks, explaining he was hoping to shed the weight he had gained while on a recent cruise. On the morning of January 25th, okay, so this happened earlier in the year, but this is when they reported that it was actually a suicide. Morning of January 25th, he left his home in Palm Beach Gardens, Florida for that walk with a camera in his gated country club community, recording him at 5:33 a.m. At 6:30 a.m., the camera picked up the sound of a gunshot. Abramson was dead. It was assumed to be murder, but there was no indication of a struggle and no weapon or shell casing found. The Palm Beach Post reports there was just one unusual clue at the scene, a very thin line of blood that ran from the wound in his heart to his shoulder. When police assessed Abramson's email, they found something else. He had purchased 2 weather balloons, though no one they interviewed thought he had any interest in weather balloons, weather, or aerial photography. His internet history gave up more secrets. He had emailed the seller 4 times asking about things like burst altitude. His Google Maps history revealed a January 23rd visit to an industrial supply store where police learned he bought a 40 cubic foot helium tank. Internet searches regarding suicide dated back 10 years.
Fuck.
The Washington Post reports 1 February 2017 search read, "Can you have a gunshot suicide with no weapon present?" What police described as a far-fetched but plausible theory formed. Abramson attached a gun to the balloon, ran a string from the trigger to his finger, and shot himself, with the balloon carrying away the weapon and the string dragging that line of blood across his sweatshirt. Using a simulator, they determined the balloon could have carried the gun north of the Bahamas and into the Atlantic. By early March, they had closed the case, ruling it a suicide.
How fucking elaborate.
That's very... like... Alright, that one's not that funny, but...
No.
And it's sad that he felt that suicide was the only option out. But that is the most well thought out suicide that I had. And I'm not trying to make light of it.
No, I get it.
I am, because that's what we do. But
my mind is blown right now more
it's
than anything.
so, the thought put into that. I would have never thought of that.
Carried the fucking gun to the Atlantic.
I would have never thought of that.
I wonder how many people that day, though, just saw a balloon with a gun attached to it.
And just didn't think anything about
No,
it.
they're just like, that's weird.
If they're in Florida, they're probably like, oh, that's Ricky.
This is America.
That's Ricky, just up to his Rickiness.
And then Ricky. Poor Ricky. Fuck, bro.
Let's see.
Ricky told me.
Let's see. Alright, let's see. Florida man, June 18th. Florida man claims to be agent of God while carrying a rattlesnake.
Agent of God.
A Florida man who claimed to be an agent of God was seen walking around Jacksonville Beach carrying a 6-foot rattlesnake. The Jacksonville Police Department received calls about the man who was holding a 6-foot long snake, according to First Coast News. When officers arrived on the scene, they asked the man to toss the snake into the police car. Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission then captured the reptile. People are still unsure as to where the man got the snake. Alright.
This just makes me want to move to Florida, dude. Right.
Florida man, June 19th. Florida man tries to mow down neighbor with tractor. A 72-year-old Florida man was arrested after he was caught on video chasing down his neighbor on a tractor during a dispute over a property line.
Yeah, I'll show you where it is. Oh my god.
The St. Johns County Sheriff's Office told News 4 JAX that on June 19th, Howell Lamar Morris of St. Augustine was charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon with intent to kill. The video of the bizarre incident was released later that day. Authorities had received a disturbance call around 8 p.m. When officers arrived on scene, Scott Lynch, 53, told them he was arguing with Morris, his neighbor, over property when the 72-year-old climbed on his tractor and raced after him, yelling, "Run, you fat ass."
Run, you fat ass. Oh my god, I love it. Oh my god.
The video shows Lynch running for his life as Morris chased him on the tractor, police said. The 52-year-old was able to finally escape when he entered his garage and shut the door behind him. In a phone call to a 911 dispatcher obtained by the television station, Lynch's wife is heard describing what she saw. "He chased him down on his tractor and my husband had to run," she said.
And my husband had to run.
Police said that Morris was arrested after police viewed the video, which showed him steering the tractor toward the victim as he was running down the driveway. Morris posted a $2,500 bond, which was also reported that Morris was ordered to have no contact with his neighbor from now on.
Oh. Well, that's probably for the best, I mean, honestly.
I would imagine.
I don't see how the garage is, like, a good place to run to, though, man. I'd ram through the garage. I have a tractor, dude.
Yeah,
Second of all, how slow do you have to be to not be able to outrun a tractor?
Well, I mean, he did call him a fat ass.
Oh, okay, so there's that.
Maybe he was a little overweight.
Like a Chris Farley type.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Enough to where he could move around, but not enough that he wouldn't die if a tractor was chasing him.
Speaking of Chris Farley, really quick, not to get off subject, but did you know in the original SNL skit with Christina Applegate and David Spade, where he's like the motivational speaker, Mac Foley, whenever he slams through that table, that wasn't planned.
Yeah, it was not scripted at all.
He just fucking slips, and you see Christina Applegate try to hide behind her hair.
Yeah.
Because she's like laughing so hard. But Florida news continued.
So, nothing on June 20th, surprisingly. June 21st.
Was a boring week.
Florida jury finds man guilty of dismembering, not murdering.
So, was the person still alive? We'll get into that.
A Florida man has been acquitted of killing his father, but convicted of dismembering the body. The Palm Beach Post reports that jurors found 50-year-old James Scandarito II
Sounds like a murderer.
guilty of abuse to a corpse and not guilty of first-degree murder.
I wonder who killed him.
Boca Raton police say Scandarito killed and dismembered his father, James Scandarito Sr., in March 2018. The younger Scandarito initially claimed his father hadn't returned from a kayaking trip, but police found the body parts after following him to an abandoned golf club. Prosecutors say he killed his father for inheritance money. The son testified he found his father dead from an apparent drug overdose and hid the body because he was afraid. Skip Scandarito resigned a judgeship in Macomb County, Michigan in 2000 in the face of sexual misconduct charges. So, he was arrested for fucking up a corpse instead of killing someone, which I imagine has a shorter jail sentence.
So, the only thing that I have, so, who killed the guy?
Well, it was a drug overdose. That's what he said. Drug overdose.
I believe it.
I'll let him have it.
I feel like that's how that case went. You know what? He's probably right.
That's true.
It is Boca Raton.
For June 22nd, we have nude Florida man burns himself while dancing in flames, chanting gibberish.
Hell yes.
Officers in Cape Coral, Florida, witnessed a completely nude man dance around a fire, stand in the flames, and start chanting gibberish. It happened on June 22nd on Pine Island Lane. Officers got a report of a man with a knife trying to set fire to a vehicle.
A knife.
The man, identified as 27-year-old John Hennessy,
How convenient.
had also thrown a rock through the window of a home, according to a police report. After the chanting and dancing, officers said Hennessy grabbed a wooden stick and swung it at them. That's when they pulled out a stun gun and he was taken into custody. Even though he was in handcuffs, Hennessy continued chanting in an unknown language. He was screaming nonsense. He always screams. It was in another language, and I didn't know what he was saying. The suspect's sister told.
Oh, so this happens all the time. Okay. Like he always does.
Unknown language. That's...
He's possessed by the devil, you idiots.
There's our title for episode 2. Unknown language.
There we go. Should I start speaking in tongues? Holiness.
Holiness. You gotta add a at the end of everything you say.
Holiness.
Yeah.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Want to hear my black preacher? Do you? You want to hear my black preacher?
Yeah.
I'll tell you. Some sunny day. Okay, that's it. That's my black preacher. I can't really speak about salvation or anything because I haven't, dedicated yet.
Let's see. Police believe that Hennessy may have consumed psychedelic mushrooms.
Hell yes.
His sister Heather's told local media he suffered from burns while standing in the fire.
Makes sense.
His mother believes... his mother told local media his behavior has been erratic since he got out of rehab. The Hennessy family wants his case to bring attention to mental illness.
We'll do our best.
Fair enough. We are doing our part right now. Hennessy family.
Spread the word. Represent.
And for today, we have Florida man convicted of killing former FSU mascot in gumbo spice dispute.
Gumbo? Oh, wow.
Florida man has been convicted of second-degree murder in the stabbing death of his co-worker in what began as a dispute over gumbo seasoning. Orlando Ricardo Thompson, 27, was found guilty on Thursday in the death of Caleb Halley, according to the Panama City News Herald. He faces up to life in prison for the crime. So Thompson and Halley began arguing about how many spices to add to a gumbo they were making at Buddy's Seafood Market. The argument quickly escalated into a physical altercation involving a 2x4 and a pocket knife. The pair separated, but Thompson is accused of starting up the fight again, this time with a decorative sword.
What is good with people in swords?
Halley tried to defend himself with a mop handle, but suffered stab wounds to the abdomen. Halley died in the hospital.
No.
Surveillance video captured the incident and was used in the prosecution to argue their case. Halley was known in the community for serving as Chef Oscalia, the Florida State University mascot. Sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong to anyone that knows how to pronounce that correctly. He did that from 2004 to 2007.
So, my only question to you, bud.
Gumbo. How much spice goes in?
Well, no, like...
Obviously, the dude that killed him knows the right answer.
yeah, but like... would you get into a fight over gumbo? Would you, like, stab somebody?
If I took it that seriously, I would see that more in Louisiana, though. I would not have expected Florida. I mean, I know they got the panhandle and everybody's poor and Cajun, but...
Everybody's poor and Cajun. The entire time they were yelling at each other, you couldn't understand a damn word they were saying.
But they take it way more seriously in Louisiana.
Yeah, because it's gumbo. That's like they're proud.
Yeah, like I wouldn't have expected that from Florida.
I want to go down to Louisiana and I want to go to one of those like crawfish boils.
Ooh,
dude, that looks so good.
People do it up here.
Do they?
Yeah.
We should do it sometime.
We'll work on doing that.
Yeah, we should have a good time.
We'll film it outside and everything. We'll have crawfish. What else goes in it? Crawfish, shrimp, sausage, corn, mashed potatoes, and you just fry it all up together.
Soul food.
And then you put like a bunch of like Cajun seasoning and stuff on it, and you just lay it out on the table and you just eat it.
Get some craft beer.
Yeah.
I want to talk about our good friend Matt Lauer.
Where in the world is Matt Lauer now?
Because
last week we just found people talking shit about him.
Well, 23 hours ago.
Oh, God.
It's still happening.
Okay.
Because apparently, Today pretended that Matt Lauer and Ann Curry did not exist in their anniversary video. They did not include clips of Ann Curry or Matt Lauer, the two people that set the foundation for the Today Show.
Yeah.
They just left them out.
Like, when I think of the Today Show, I never watched it myself, but as a child, my parents and my grandparents watched it.
Same.
So I remember having it on the TV, and I knew who those people were. And whenever I think of the Today Show, I think of Matt Lauer.
The best thing about this is, that's the same thing I think about.
Yeah.
I think of him, I think of Ann Curry, and I think of Al Roker. I think of those three people.
The holy trinity of the Today Show.
Not this Asian lady.
Who is that? She's been on there for a while, though.
She has been. That's the weird part.
I never liked her, though.
Me either. And it had nothing to do with her being of the Oriental descent.
I mean, you can speak for yourself.
Oh, okay. I'm sick of them coming over here with their math. But anyway. anyway.
With their good math skills.
So here's what the article says. It says that today, the talk show has seemingly decided to take the Soviet-Russian method of erasing people from various media. In celebration of the morning show's monumentous 25th anniversary at Studio 1A.
Has it been on that long?
Yeah, 25 years. That's weird.
That show's as old as I am.
So it's been on as long as you've been alive.
Yeah.
And 2 years longer than I have.
I hope it's in better shape than I am.
Me too. Well, apparently not. There's a lot of bad things.
They got rid of Matt Lauer, and that was the decline of the Today Show.
It really was.
So if you still watch the Today Show, not to interrupt, but if you still watch the Today Show, let us know in the comments, because I guarantee you there's only about 12.
If you do, you need to boycott it till they bring him back.
Till they bring Matt Lauer
I mean,
back.
I get that he diddled some chicks, but who hasn't
But
done
did
that?
he, though?
Oh yeah, that's alleged. I forgot.
Did they ever find proof? Like, I'm not, like, trying to discredit them, like, if it actually did happen, but did they ever find, like, proof?
We could find out if Matt Lauer was guilty really quick. Was Matt Lauer? That's how long I've been out of the game.
Was he guilty? See, I never heard anything about it. I heard he got fired, and then nothing else happened after that I know of.
NBC Universal releases finding in Matt Lauer probe. Uh-oh. Matt Lauer apparently responded to it. There is enough truth in these stories.
That's what he said.
Yeah, that's what he said. He pretty much just said, okay, I did it. Which is the best thing you can do.
My man!
Yes. Own up to it, man. Louis C.K. didn't own up to it, and you see where he's at.
He did own up to it. Like, when it started coming to light, he was like, yeah, I did that.
Yes, people.
But at the same time, Louis C.K. never touched anybody.
Yeah, that's the thing that got me about it. He got permission from these people to jerk off in front of him.
He literally said, I'm going to take my cock out and masturbate in front of you.
Are you okay with that?
And they all said, okay.
Alright. Especially Sarah Silverman.
Yeah.
Which that would have been a great time.
She was like...
She's hot.
She was like the only one that wasn't mad.
Yeah, I know.
She was like, yeah, he did that to me. I mean, he asked, and I said, sure, so he did it. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not saying it was right, but he did say what he was going to do, and he didn't touch anybody.
Nope.
You know.
Unlike Matt Lauer, who apparently touched people.
Unlike Matt Lauer, who said, I did that.
I totally did it.
That shit, I did.
I'm not afraid to admit it. That's the thing that's got me captivated about this whole thing, is that, you know, when I was growing up and I was watching Matt Lauer, I thought he was just a regular, average Joe dude. You know what I mean? I didn't expect him to have all these crazy, creepy tendencies.
Him and Steve Carell look a lot alike.
They do.
If you think about it.
The only difference is I don't think Steve Carell's ever, like...
Yeah, Michael Scott's never touched anybody.
Not yet, anyway.
Other than himself.
It could happen.
Yeah, it's there for a while. It was like Hollywood was on like a fucking witch hunt.
They were.
Dude,
for child rapists.
It was like everybody. And then they got Kevin Spacey.
Yeah.
And he was just, instead of being like, oh, I did it, or I didn't do it, he's just like, it's 'cause I'm gay.
It's 'cause I'm gay.
I touched little boys because I'm gay, not because I'm a pedophile.
Yeah, that's...
And then literally everyone was like, it wouldn't be right even if it was girls. Like, it's the age, man. It's not the fact of who you did it to. It's the age of who you did it to.
You know what I hate more than anything?
What?
Whenever you got a 23 to 25-year-old in a relationship with a 32-year-old, or somewhere along those lines,
yeah,
and they think they have the right to be like, pedophiles are disgusting. The thing about it is, you were 1 when your significant other was 10. Now, I've dated a 30-year-old before. I'm not ashamed of it. But the fact of the matter is, you're going around shaming these people that have, like, you know what I mean? Like, a 17-year-old chick and they're, like, 20.
That's what I was going to say. The same people that say shit like that, which, I mean, don't get me wrong, like, I don't stand up for pedophiles.
No.
Don't take that.
That's not what I'm trying to do.
But the people that slam against it the hardest are like the 23-year-olds who are dating girls in high school.
Yeah, there's that too.
I never that's a fine line. Like, if you started dating in high school and you're like a year or two difference, like, while you're both in high school and it carries on after the older one graduates,
Yeah.
I think that's kind of like grandfathered in because you were already together when you were both under 18. But if you are literally 20, actually over 18 at all, if you're out of high school and you're actively pursuing someone in high school, you're fucking creepy, dude. Like,
now here, that's the thing. I'm gonna ask the hard questions here, because that's
Alright.
what I do. I ask the hard questions. Not afraid to, because I don't care. Look at me, I'm pale. What are they gonna do? But anyway, in Georgia, the legal age of consent is 17 years old.
Right.
That's just a year under our legal age of consent.
Right.
But if someone were to pursue someone that was just a year younger than 18, they get called a pedophile. It makes no sense to me, because whenever I picture a pedophile, I picture someone diddling a 5-year-old.
Yeah, like, everyone's got the same idea that it's someone like 40 years old or above and they're doing something to a child in like single digits.
Exactly, and that's disgusting to me.
It is.
But
it's more broad than that, too.
I know 17-year-olds who have fallen in love with 20-year-olds, and they've actually made it out, and they're married and stuff now.
Yeah. I mean, it's like a fine line, but what I meant was, like, the people who graduated 2 years ago and still hang around the high school.
Oh, yeah, see, that's creepy.
That's creepy.
That's not,
So
that didn't happen by chance.
If you do that, fucking stop. You wonder why you can't hold a relationship, that's why.
Because you're going after people who aren't emotionally ready to have a relationship. And you're preying on them. You're preying on these people that aren't emotionally developed, and you feel good about it. And then you trap them.
And that makes you weird as shit. And now that we're off our soapbox...
I know, right? We just got on top of it. We're like, you know what? You people are gross. We're going to point the finger. It feels good to point the finger, man. I like doing it.
Oh, yeah.
We need to bring up, like, conspiracy theories and stuff.
Yeah, we
Let's
do.
get into it. Let's get into it.
What kind of conspiracy? 9/11 didn't happen.
It
Either that or Hillary Clinton did 9/11 with plain holograms.
Plain hologram. I know a guy that thinks 9/11 was caused by a moon base with a laser on it. He thinks that a laser shot from the moon and disintegrated the Twin Towers. The thing is, that happened at daytime. So the moon is on the other side of the Earth. And this guy's like, no, man, a moonbeam. Totally a moonbeam.
The weird thing about 9/11, though, people are all the time saying, oh, George Bush did it.
Yeah, I know.
I don't think he did. He knew something was going to happen, but he tried to go before Congress, and this is documented. He tried to go before Congress like 16 or 17 times. And He said, hey, if we don't do something about that shit going on, something bad's going to happen. I'm telling you, something bad's going to happen. And every time, they just disregarded everything he said. They were like, no. So, I mean, I know people have all kinds of opinions about George Bush, but he did try to warn that something was going to happen, and Congress did not listen to him. They discredited everything he said, and they were like, no, it's okay. And he the last time he went before them, it was like just a few weeks before 9/11 happened. He said, I'm telling you, something is getting ready to happen, and we need to do something about it. And they were like, no, it's okay. And
that's why
9/11.
You shouldn't be allowed to be in Congress for more than 5 years. Because they were doing it for the money that they were going to get once we went to war.
Yeah.
And they were also doing it for the oil that we were going to get, all the natural resources. Pretty much the whole war was over oil. That's pretty much all it was.
Oil and an idea.
Yeah.
That's
it.
We're fighting an ideology.
Yep. And it's pretty much the same ideology that people in this country have. It's
just a different ending.
Yeah, and a different
like
we're fighting over the same thing.
Yeah.
And, you know, that just goes to show you how bad it is. Like, the Electoral College, for example, now that we're talking about this, Donald Trump lost the election for the popular vote by 3 million votes. 3 million people said no. Don't let him in. American class, hard-working people.
Yeah.
They said this. Yet he's still in office, going around, making us look like assholes.
The thing about the Electoral College, though, the reason it was put into place is because these are not real numbers that I'm about to throw out there, but let's say Tennessee's population, overall, Tennessee has a population of 400,000. California has about 4 million.
Yeah.
Let's say that. California, out of those 4 million, 3.5 million are going to be leaning toward the blue side of the political spectrum, and out of the 400,000 Tennesseans, 300,000 are going to lean toward the red spectrum.
Yeah.
So, the reason that the Electoral College was put into place to begin with was to give them equal opportunities. Because if it was left just to the population, and not to say that any political affiliation is right or wrong, the left would always win.
They would always
They
win.
have more people backing them than the Republicans, the Independents, anybody else, the Green Party, anybody. It's more left-leaning, more Democrats are in the country by population. By the Electoral College standard, everyone's on a level playing field. That's why the representatives, that's why each state has a different number of representatives, because it's based on that state's population. So bigger states are going to have more representatives, but the smaller states are still going to have representation as well.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm 50-50 with it. I think Electoral College should only come into play if the popular vote is too close to count.
It needs to be regulated.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that I feel like needs to happen, because you've got these people that are in Congress right now who have been in Congress for like
40 years.
Exactly.
Like, they're going to die there.
They're doing it all based out of their own interests.
Yeah.
What they have money and stock in and stuff like that. So if somebody comes around and they're like, we have something to combat climate change, pretty much all you're going to have to do is stop using oil and go more green and stuff like that, they're going to lose money.
Yeah.
Because they have all of this money invested in, you know, like the oil fields and petroleum and things of that nature. They're not going to let a guy that has those ideas, or a woman, they're not going to let a woman or a guy that has those ideas come up there and be like, hey, I have a solution to all this. They don't want a solution. They want the money they're going to get. They're already almost dead anyway.
Yeah, it's like talking about not wanting a solution. That's why, like, hospitals, we're never going to have a public cure for cancer.
No.
But, going back to conspiracy theories, I think for all major diseases that we have, AIDS, cancer, anything like that, I honestly believe that we already have cures for that.
Well, yeah.
But they only use it for people high up in the government. Because, I mean, think about it. Besides getting shot early in their life, when's the last time a president died in his, like, 60s or 70s? No. They all lived to be, like, fucking 95 years old. And none of them die from, like, crazy diseases. Who was it? Ronald Reagan's, like, the only one that, like, died from a disease, and it was Alzheimer's. But the thing is, like, they all lived to be, like, fucking 90 to 100. And it's because those cures are out there. But the way the hospitals view it, why they're never going to make it public, a cured patient is no longer a customer.
Money lost.
No longer, yeah. It's a patient cured is a customer lost.
Well, look what that Martin Shkreli guy did. And the thing is, he, like, would work with people to make it affordable for them.
The thing with him that didn't get reported is that he made it that expensive only for the insurance companies.
Yep.
If he sold it directly to patients for a fraction of the $700 that he was charging insurance companies. He literally did it to fuck them over.
He was doing it to stick it to the corporations that put their last name on these medications, and for whatever reason, because they have their last name on that medication, it goes up to like
ridiculous amounts.
Yeah, I've had to do it. I mean, like, you know, you get prescribed some medication and you have to take the off-brand because you can't afford this guy's fucking name.
Yeah.
So Martin Shkreli got a hold of this fucking HIV medication, I think it was, or was it AIDS medication? Because
one of the two. It was one. It doesn't cure it, but it like prolongs it.
Yeah.
So I mean, he got a hold of that, and he like bought the rights to it basically. And he was like a direct distributor, though. He would sell it to people and hospitals directly for a fraction of the price. But if it was going through an insurance company, he was charging the insurance companies $700 to $1,000 per pill, just a big fuck you to them. That it wasn't meant to fuck over. I mean, in the end, just because he didn't understand how business worked, in the end, it ended up fucking a bunch of people over. But his intent was to piss off the insurance companies.
And the mass media made him look like a fucking murderer, pretty much.
Yeah.
Just because of that.
And they were like, well, he's so smug. It's like, no, because he knows, like, he's just trying to fuck over the insurance companies. Like, that was his whole idea. Like, he did an interview just a couple of years ago. And he's actually a really smart guy. And that's what he said. He's like, yeah, I wasn't trying to kill people. He's like, that was not my intent. Like, I was just sick of seeing people get fucked over by insurance companies. Because the thing with hospitals, even just like 60 years ago, if you went to a hospital, say you had to have an operation, they would charge you the amount that it cost them to do the operation. So let's just say, random number, $500.
Yeah.
So it cost them $500 for the equipment and the manpower to do the operation. They would charge you $650. So to make up their losses for the operation and to get a little money to stay in business, that's what they would charge you. But then insurance companies came along and they said, we want better premiums. And so the hospitals were like, we can't make any money if that is what you're going to do. So the insurance companies said, well, just make up fake prices and give us the premiums on those. So they did. You can look this up. It's called, like, the International Charge Master or something, and it's a book of charges for hospitals. That's why if you go get blood drawn, or if you have to have fluids put in you, the little bag that the fluids are in costs like $60. And it's because they just made up, like, ridiculous prices to sell the premiums on the ridiculous prices to the insurance companies. That way they would both start making money.
You know, honestly, and we're going to go into taxes, since you brought that up.
Taxation is theft.
Well, the thing about that is, okay, people are getting upset with the way their tax money's being used already.
Yeah.
Why are people so against being taxed for healthcare?
That's true.
We're already being taxed for healthcare that isn't working. So if we're being taxed for healthcare, like if we're actually looking at it and saying, hey, this needs to be fixed, we need healthcare reform, if we go in and reform it, clearly our taxes aren't going to the schools and roads like they say they are.
We discussed that earlier.
If we could make a way for it to be regulated that our taxes are going towards healthcare, it's a win-win.
And that you can actually see it going to healthcare. That's the thing, is that
representation.
Yeah, people know, like, okay, I got taxes coming out of this check that are supposed to be going back toward the community, but I don't see a fucking difference.
Not happening.
That's why everyone's so, like, iffy about getting more taxes taken out, because they're like, I already get taxes taken out and nothing fucking happens with it.
Well, we're the people.
It's like I'm giving the government back money that I worked for just for them to say, ha.
Clearly, people aren't too upset about it, or we'd be in the streets right now.
Yeah.
You know? Honestly, I'm ready for that.
Living on the street?
No, not living on the street. Taking it to the streets. Like, what the fuck? What are you doing?
Taking it to the streets.
We've known.
Like the Doobie Brothers.
Yeah.
Taking it to the streets.
We've known for so long. For so long, we've known that they've been doing that to people.
Yeah. It's... I don't know, man.
It's like, it's just something to talk about, pretty much. Nobody's passionate about it.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, we're doing it right now. We're contributing to the problem. No, we're not.
Yeah, dude. If you have a problem, don't come up with a solution. Just bitch about it.
Yeah, eventually it'll get look what punk rock did.
Yeah.
They capitalized on bitching.
Yeah. and the only thing they were mad about is because bands started making concept albums, and they said, "Fuck that."
Where did rock and roll go?
Yeah. Yeah, because literally the Ramones were upset because Yes had put out an album in 1974 called Tales from Topographic Oceans. So, for people who aren't familiar with vinyl records... Oh god, I just spilled some coffee. Oh well.
You were like, god damn it.
For people who are not that familiar with vinyl records, I actually have the record in question right here. So the thing is, vinyl records, you could fit about 22 to 25 minutes of music on each side. So each side of the vinyl record, A and B side, could fit 22 to 25 minutes of music. So Tales from Topographic Oceans by Yes came out in 1974, and it was a double album, which means that there were 2 vinyl records to make up one album. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. All that means is that they had a lot of music written and ready to be recorded. The problem that the Ramones saw with that was that each side of the album, so one side 1, 2, 3, and 4, was one song apiece. Each song on this album was 20 plus minutes long.
Oh.
And the Ramones were like, why the fuck would you think that is an okay thing? Like, why? Who is going to listen to an hour's worth of music? Over an hour. Almost 2 hours worth of music in one sitting. And I'll be honest with you, this album, I love the band Yes, but this album is one of their worst.
You're just sitting there. You're just sitting there like, is it gonna pick up? Like,
yeah, I mean, you can only do, I don't know, you can only do so much. That's the thing. There's plenty of songs, like, long songs that I really like. But yeah, this whole album, like, there's parts where you're like, oh, that sounds pretty cool. But then you gotta sit through, like, 14 minutes of bullshit to get to it.
Yeah.
And see, the thing is, with record players, you couldn't just skip ahead. Like, you could place the needle wherever you wanted, but you don't see the time. You're like, oh, I know at 12 minutes the song picks up, but you just kind of gotta guess, like, oh,
where it's at.
12 minutes looks about right here, and just drop the needle down. But yeah, so that's why punk rock became a thing. It's this album right here.
You're welcome. Yes, was the original punk rock.
Shit.
Dude, I'm telling you. Dang it, I lost my train of thought. Had something to do with the Ramones. They were important. There we go.
There we go. Well,
we're at 1 hour and 3 minutes. We went a little over.
That's okay. The second episode we ever did was like 1.5 hours.
Yeah, it was good times.
But thank you guys for hanging out, and we will see you next week. And we're not going to do that.
We're only going to do that now.
Bye.
Bye.